Yeah, I hear all this stuff about fiasco and boondoggle, but there's got to be a flip side. I mean...
Well, let's see what the flip side is, Joe. Let's see. In 2 years, we did what nobody ever did in the car business, from creation to a car coming off the line. We did it in New Brunswick. The only failure was there wasn't enough time and there wasn't enough money to perfect the car, which, by the way, General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, etc., take years to keep refining and refining until they get it right. And we had to get it right first time on the stage with no mistakes. That was the mistake.
As a company,
si, sur le plan commercial, c'est un échec, sur le plan de l'ingénierie, c'est une réussite. Parce que 40 ans plus tard, c'est toujours une bonne voiture. C'est toujours une belle voiture. C'est assez incroyable.
That's pretty incredible.
C'est décevant parce que ça aurait été agréable d'avoir une voiture made in Canada qui aurait vraiment révolutionné le marché avec des caractéristiques de sécurité innovantes.
Much more difficult than I assumed, and I talked to a lot of people before I got the money necessary to get this engine going. But fortunately, there were a few people who said it was a success because you did build 3,000 cars.
Malgré la faillite de l'entreprise, Terry Tanner considère encore que le seul fait d'avoir produit des voitures relève de l'exploit.
We made them in spite of, not because of.
On a réussi à relever le défi malgré toutes les difficultés. On a créé un environnement de travail en un rien de temps, en 6 mois, et inventé une voiture.
So we spent $23 million.
On a donc dépensé 23 millions de dollars. Tout un exploit.
Fantastic.
On avait réussi quelque chose. On avait réussi à démontrer que les gens du Nouveau-Brunswick pouvaient produire une voiture et puis qu'on pouvait compétitionner dans le monde. Et puis, la fin de tout ça, bien comme Richard Redfield l'a déjà partagé, si le grand frère canadien, le gouvernement du temps aurait investi avec nous, puis nous aurait supportés, on aurait toute une autre économie au Nouveau-Brunswick.
Je vais compter ça à mes petits-enfants. C'est quelque chose, là. Comme moi, mes enfants ne me croyaient pas, là. Ah, maman, t'as travaillé là-dessus, une femme. Une femme fait l'ouvrage d'homme.
Oui, très fier. Très fier. Je suis content que j'ai travaillé là aussi. Vraiment content que j'ai travaillé là. Parce que comme ma soeur disait, le monde de la péninsule acadienne voyait une voiture de même passer. Hey, regardez ce qui passait une Breakland.
J'ai travaillé là-dessus, je suis fière de le dire.
C'est ça, c'est vraiment une belle aventure pareil.
But the people in New Brunswick deserve a lot of credit, and it's a shame that they don't see what they did do. That car is driving on the street, and 30 years later, here it is, with people acclaiming everything we said it would do. It's doing no scratches, no bumps, no mars. It looks like a brand new car when it rides down the street. Who did it? The people in New Brunswick did it.
The idea that the Bricklin was somehow this colossal failure, that it was this awful piece of junk that wouldn't run properly, and that they were just these awful cars.
He and Campbell say that couldn't be further from the truth. They believe the innovative car was rushed to market and was ahead of its time.
Do you ever consider yourself a failure when you produce something this innovative in this province? And I think Canadians should look at this car with pride.
Shelley Steeves, Global News, Moncton.
The car failed.
La voiture est un échec?
No.
Non, c'est pas un échec. La compagnie a échoué. La voiture, elle, est une réussite totale.
The car is a total success.
There you go. A New Brunswick business, well played, business professor says it's time to revisit one of the biggest industrial failures of them all because interest in the Bricklin remains as strong as ever. CTV's Mike Cameron explains.
It's been more than 40 years since the last Bricklin rolled off the line here. Since then, the Bricklin has been the subject of books and song and theater, and some say there's enough of a story that it could attract tourists.
I think there's a great interest, and I think we're far enough away from the embarrassment of the story that we might be able to just look at it in a different light.
Lee Jolliffe is a business professor at UNBSJ. 4 decades after the debacle, Jolliffe says the Bricklin now needs to be seen as a resource for the region, a way to bring car enthusiasts to the Maritimes and entertain them while they're here.
For any of those car enthusiasts out there who are coming here on cruise ships and they're able to take a shore excursion or have a ride in a Bricklin or get their picture taken with a Bricklin. So it could add to our tourism product.
Oh, I don't see why not. It's a huge part of our history. It was here for years, and there's what's left.
Maybe Charlie was onto something.
The Bricklin's back. Dear Lord, the Bricklin's back.
Mike Cameron, CTV News, St. John.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. There is even now some controversy 40 years later. A lot of taxpayer dollars were lost with all of this, with the setting up of the plant. What do you say to New Brunswick taxpayers who even now, 40 years later, are a little annoyed at that?
Well, I don't blame them for being annoyed. You know, they lost money, but I lost a lot of money too, and unfortunately, I went bankrupt because of it. I lost a lot of my Subaru stock, which is, you know, before it was over, was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But the truth of the matter is, if they look around the world and see what's happening, like Tesla is building an electric car. They were given $500 million by the United States government. They're 2.5 years overdue. They're losing $25 million a month. And it shows that it just takes time to develop something, and what we didn't have was time, because we were a political football, because the premier used it to win an election, and because of that, the opposition used it to knock every time we missed a date. It was front page news.
Well, that's a very good point.
That project, I had my heart and soul in. It was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I lost more money doing the SV1 than everything I ever lost in my entire life, but got me more credit and made my life 10,000 times easier because of it. And if it didn't fail, I wouldn't have had all that. Don't ask me how come that happens that way, but I'm known for that car. I mean, Subaru, all that, it's interesting, but the car was what people remember. And they made a $20 silver coin. There's a Canadian Bricklin coin. There's a Canadian stamp. I got a notice from the post office department who does, and there's a Bricklin credit card. And they told me, you got a credit card, you have a stamp, and I thought they were going to tell me how much royalty I'm going to get. And then finished it with, and if you'll just give us your order, we're going to give you free shipping. That's my royalty from the post office of Canada.
So that car, you said, has done more for you?
It's done me more good. And the truth of the matter is, looking back, the best thing ever happened to me is I got put out of business in a way that I really had nothing to do with bad business. It was totally politics. He put me into politics, and politics screwed him and closed it down. But the truth of the matter is, if it was successful, let's see what I would have ended up with. I'm building that car. Now, no matter how beautiful a car is, no matter how many people like it, you got to change. It just gets old. It just gets boring. And when you build too many of it, it loses the mystique.
Malcolm was a figurehead, but he was the man who started the thing going. He hired Dick Vollmer. Dick Vollmer was the guy that made it work. He's the that hired the people. He hired Maury Adams. He hired Smokey Hanselman. He hired me. He hired Tom Monroe. Malcolm hired Herb with Dick Alpeny. Okay, those are key people who did wonderful things in terms of this car. Malcolm is an important kind of person, just like John was an important kind of person. These are not bad people, not at all. They are the reason that there is a United States of America with an industrial base that we have. Just like Henry Ford was important, Carnegie was important. People said he was yada, yada, yada. He also created the steel system. Rockefeller was an ass, but he created a bank system that worked. These people, Winton was important. Olds was important. Everybody that had the guts to step out of line and say, I will do it, are important. Malcolm had a dream. He was either gut strong enough or stupid enough to pursue it.
It's easy to mock Malcolm Bricklin or any of these other people who started a car company and failed, but the reality is that the auto industry is a really harsh business. So to all those armchair CEOs out there, I ask, how many cars have your last name on them?
Some dismiss Malcolm Bricklin as an automotive huckster who sold St. John a false dream on wheels. Others see him as a visionary, simply unlucky and ahead of his time. Perhaps I'm just one of the many stooges he's dazzled over the years with his big ideas and bigger personality, but the truth is, he wasn't any less authentic to me than all of those glad-handing PR people or hobnobbing automotive journalists I met that week at the New York Auto Show. So, I'll let you be the judge.
And the story of its rise and fall is being celebrated on a maritime stage. Well, tonight, we're delighted to welcome a very special guest to Live at 5, the man behind the legendary car, Malcolm Bricklin. Mr. Bricklin, I want to thank you so much for joining us from our studios in Fredericton tonight.
Oh, thank you, Bruce.
Have you been back to the Maritime since you left in the 1970s?
The only time I actually visited was on 9/11. I was on an airplane coming from Birmingham, England, and it got diverted to Moncton, where I spent, unfortunately, in an unfortunate situation, 3 very lovely days in the hockey ring.
You really do have a long history here in the Maritimes.
Yes, and it was, you know, I look back, here I am 40 years later, looking forward to seeing myself on stage, and it's really surreal.
Certainly. You mentioned the play. That is the reason that you're here tonight. A special guest at the Fredericton Playhouse this evening, opening night for The Bricklin, an automotive fantasy. What goes through your mind when you're going to be sitting down tonight in a theater seat watching a play about yourself?
Well, you know, I've been asked that question. I honestly can't tell you. I can only tell you when I'm sitting there when it'll go, because I can't imagine watching somebody who's supposed to be me mouthing words that I supposedly either said or thought and watching it while I'm still alive. So I really have no idea what I'm going to feel. But right now it sort of feels surreal.
Do you feel a little nervous about how you'll be portrayed?
No, right now it's not a nervous feeling. It's sort of a happy feeling, knowing that it's at least bringing some happiness to some people, and that maybe the Bricklin will make some money.
Maybe the Bricklin will finally make some money. That's right.
Yeah.
The entire company, we know, is thrilled that you're coming tonight. Have you met Jason Chesworth, the young actor who portrays you?
Not yet, not yet. I met the director, I met the writer, I met a few of the people, and they seem so enthusiastic, and I'm just really looking forward to it. I hear it's really fabulous.
It is. A lot of people are saying that. Were you consulted at all on the production? Did they call you and ask you about facts and that kind of thing?
No, they didn't. Therefore, I'm really happy, because whatever they did is their imagination.
It'll be a big surprise to everybody. All right, we want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mr. Bricklin, and enjoy the show.
Thank you very much. I'm sure I will.
Okay, Malcolm Bricklin, the man behind the legendary Maritime-made sports car, and of course, the subject of a fun musical that is now playing at the Fredericton Playhouse. Bricklin, an automotive fantasy, opens tonight, runs until the 7th of August. You can get tickets through the Playhouse at the box office there. Let's head back to Star.
A cowboy entrepreneur and a flamboyant premier dare to change the automotive industry forever.
Bring on that Bricklin. We want the Bricklin. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Big dreams collide with sports cars in the sexy, funk-infused musical. Audiences can't wait to take for a ride.
Who's the man with the vision? Who's the man with the guts? Who's the man who's gonna build it? No ifs, ands, or buts. Well, it's Malcolm Bricklin. That's what I said.
We had a
dream. We want the Bricklin. Bring on that Bricklin. We want the Bricklin.
Got a vehicle with 5 major innovations.
urethane bumpers, and the first acrylic chassis. No chrome push-button gull-wing doors. They're gonna be lining up from Tinseltown to Tallahassee.
But I'm gonna play him as a rock star. So there's equal parts Malcolm Bricklin and also some Mick Jagger and David Bowie in there. You did a good job. I really recorded it. Going away. Thanks. Going back.
You wanna cruise, wanna blow the blues, you wanna feel like a rock star. Baby, you're so fine. Hold on to your horsepower, baby. We're gonna have a little fun. Gonna rotate your lug nuts. Oh! One by one. Gonna check your brake line fluid. Vacuum up your floors. Gonna push your buttons, baby. And open up your doors. Your going doors.
133. Say what? Say disco did one more majority. Ooh, ooh, ooh. In my brick land. 133. Come on. One more majority. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Show and what it was like to see yourself up there?
It was fabulous. It could not have been better. I thought it was me up there in the premiere. And they caught the essence of really what happened. I mean, I laughed. I said exactly. Not quite exactly, but pretty darn close. And the quality of the acting and the writing was first class. Broadway would deserve this.
It was 20 years ahead of its time. So when you look at it, I mean, it's still a great looking car.
He's talking about a Bricklin car.
All American parts, or every part is from America, but it's a Canadian car.
Bob is more than an enthusiast. A few years back, Bob purchased all the outstanding inventory from Bricklin's liquidator. So, if you need replacement parts for a Bricklin, you need Bob.
The new parts that we make now are a fiberglass gel coat covering versus the acrylic plastic.
Going to fiberglass is a big plus. The original acrylic may have been futuristic in '74, but it flopped under extreme conditions. To successfully rebuild, you need glass, not a blast from the past. The guys at Syndicate could have a tough job finding parts for the defunct Bricklin. But thankfully, back in '72, Bricklin entered the automotive world not just as a competitor, they were going to be big-time buyers too. With Ford supplying engines and transmissions, and AMC giving everything from Matador radiators to Javelin suspensions. So parts are still out there, you just have to track down the DNA.
The first car was built in 1974. It's no longer in production. 2 years after hitting the streets, the company went bankrupt. Fans now have to surf the web and cruise into car shows to get up close and personal or buy one of their own.
The first meet was held at Hershey 40 years ago.
And 40 years later, the Bricklin meets in Hershey are still going strong, with car lovers traveling from Connecticut, New York, and even Florida.
I do best in the Bricklin meets because they're all the same type of car. I mean, it's such a unique car at a regular car show. They don't know what class to put it in, so that can be a little difficult.
It's fun to drive, a head turner. I don't have to have a Bentley. I have a Bricklin.
Parise Thomas, ABC 27 News.
Finally, before I let you go, I have to ask you, what are you doing these days? We know you're not retired, really.
Well, retiring is never going to happen. I can guarantee you that. I'm doing a lot of projects.